What's going on YouTube? I am HotMessNess MUA, otherwise known as Vanessa, and today's video is a demo of this look using the Melt 27 palette. It is also swatches and all of those things that you would expect from a newer palette review, video, tutorial, yada yada. We're gonna be going through, I will leave timestamps down below of the demo. I will leave timestamps down below of the swatches so you can skip ahead if you want to. This video is a little rough, I'm not gonna lie. I have not filmed a tutorial in I don't know how long, and getting on camera was like, I don't know what I'm talking about today. Like, English was not my first language, and it's the only language I know. All right guys, for this review, for the swatch portion of this video, I'm gonna be showing them on the arm up close. I'm not gonna go through and do each one and on the hand. Nobody needs all that. It's just gonna be on the swatch, on the arm. If you wanna see the swatches, just keep watching over here. I'm competing with crickets. Okay, so the first shade is Naked Sleep. Then we have Downtown, Nip Slip, Moxie, Crime Fighter, One More Thing, Thick, Vegas Past, Whiskey Neat, and Moonchild. And these next swatches are done on my son Troy. He's about an NC 47. He's considered a very tan. I wouldn't know what they would be like on a very deep skin tone. If you guys want to see the demo of the eye look I created using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the 10 shades, just keep watching. You're still watching. I'm so proud of you. Thank you. Thank you for that. Today we are doing the 27 palette, which is from Melt Cosmetics. It is still available. I don't know if you guys are familiar. Of course you are. Of course you are. For those of you that are familiar, you know that Melt Cosmetics does stacks. Fun little stacks. And the first stack that I ever purchased, I bought used. It was the Love Sick stack, which I still have not used a complete look because to me, it's like, you know, these are kind of hard to make a look. I mean, you could, but every time I get them in there, it started being funky. So yeah, I've not been inspired by this. And that was always my kind of issue with Melt, is it was really highly priced. The Rust one, that one looked cool to me, but I had those shades already. So as you guys may already know, that the stacks, they came with 3.57 grams of product. Now they come with 3 grams of product. I ended up picking up the baby girl stack when I got the Gemini. And I liked the Gemini. I thought the Gemini was cool. When 27 came out, because I like Gemini, I was like, I'm gonna get it. And it is just another neutral palette. But they're warm, they're cool, they're different, but they're not. I hate when you do that. Ugh. Maybe someday I'll get out the information about this palette. Anyway, the Gemini palette came out because one of the co-founders' birthday was in early June, and that was her version. This is the other co-founder's palette, so the blonde one. There's the dark-haired one, the blonde one. So the blonde one, this is it. It's got pictures of her and her man and her dog and her and her dog and the other co-creator and the Melt staff. It's very cute. And if you're like a huge Melt fan, I'm sure you were all about this. These palettes are ridiculously priced, ridiculously. Net weight, 20 grams of product, 0.73 ounces. So 20 grams of product for $58. And I think for this other stack, it cost me, I don't even remember. I'll try to leave that up there. But I think I got mine on sale for 40 bucks and it's 3 grams each. Does that mean I have to do math now? 20 grams of product. There's 3 of them, 5, 15. So I'm sure it's the same, whatever. You know, I'm not Stephanie Nicole. I don't think you expect that of me. I like this. because they are gradation, but there's also variation. It's not just, look, here's light brown to darkest brown. I love the Dose of Colors formula. They do that kind of thing. I've been using this palette a lot. I like it. That's why I'm doing this video. And it hasn't completely sold out. And I feel like, why would they curate something like this and not restock? Like, I'm sure Gemini will come back. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna do a look today with this palette. I'm gonna do some video swatches on myself and a deeper skin tone. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do today.
That's what we're gonna do.
But I already gave the spoiler alert. I like it. Is it like absolutely revolutionary? No, it's not. You might have these colors already. But my point is, I like this formula in the palettes. I like the variety of colors. Whereas with these guys, I was getting 4 or 5 colors. This one I get more variety. And I think that's why. Where some people might be drawn to this, I personally am drawn to palettes. And if Melt would have made palettes sooner, I probably would have been buying their formulas a lot quicker. Even though this is a cool idea, it's neat. But you saw, I just tried to get into it, and I'm always afraid that I'm gonna be like, see, I just got more of that damn gray shadow everywhere. I get them nicked by the little thingy-do. I get it. I understand the hype. I understand why people like this, but more versatility with a palette. So that's why I can be like,
hey, I like this.
Let me first say, I've used most of these colors. I literally did like a faux little liner with these and just dusted a little color. It's a good formula, guys. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, we're gonna start with Naked Sleep. That is this shade right here. And, you know, do the thing. We're gonna put it here. Shade, I believe, was stated as one of those shades that will buff away things. So you can see it's deeper than my skin tone, but it is actually a good buffing shade. I feel like this palette goes really good with the baby girl palette too. Like if you had that stack, they go nicely together. You can do a lot. And that's why I'm kind of excited about these. I feel like a lot of the stacks will go well with the palettes. I am so out of practice on how to do a tutorial. It should not be this difficult, but yet somehow I'm making it this difficult. I'm gonna take Nip Slip, which is this really nice little pinky shade. I'm gonna tuck some nip right here. This kind of is the color of a nice nipple. Maybe a nipple before you have children. The thing that's cool about these shades is you see that they're pigmented, but they can be built up. So you can get them very, very vibrant, or you could blend them down for a more muted look. Muted look. Hashtag not a beauty guru. Hashtag out of practice.
Hashtag if this was my job, I'd get fired.
See, I feel like these are just cool. Like you could have just whipped this all, swiped. I could have just swiped this all over the lid, blended the edges with Naked Sleep, and been done with it, you know? One of the questions that I had from someone was, are these good for deeper skin tone? And honestly, I'm gonna have to try these out on some people. And I'm gonna grab a little bit more Naked Sleep to buff my edges. So see, if I go in light with this, it's just an eraser shade. But if I had gone in darker, it'd be like a nice, darker, but light brown. Does that make sense?
Someone needs some help. Send help.
I'm gonna deepen up a little more with thick. These colors are really flattering, and I feel like you can pull in pops of color from other things in your collection and it becomes more than a neutral. I don't know if that even makes sense, because yes, this is a neutral palette, but there's just something about these colors that you could bring in a bold red, like a true red, or you could play with purples on this side and really extend this. So I feel like this is a really nice neutral warm, but it's not just warm. There are tones here that go the other direction. hashtag not sponsored, hashtag not on the PR list, hashtag Melt doesn't know who I am. My first instinct was like they had planned Gemini and maybe they had thrown this one together, but feeling this formula feels like they either have a lab that is incredible or this is a well thought out palette.
Love it so much.
As much as I want to play with that beautiful Moxie shade, I'm gonna grab some Downtown. Let's show you the differences. I'll show you, of course, the swatches. But these shades are similar, but so different. It's just gonna give you a different hue on the eyes, going more warm versus cool, but almost like the same kind of type of shade. Am I being followed here? I don't even know if I make sense anymore. Truth be told, you can forget how to do this. I am the proof. Okay, I'm gonna grab some Downtown and I'm gonna work her mostly on the outer. I'm just taking the little pencil part and curving up. And the same little brush and blending. We're gonna take this little Morphe E18 and we're gonna grab some Whiskey Neat. This is not a purple brownie color. It's just, you know, a deep brownie color. I want something a little smaller, so I'm gonna go back into the Wayne number 20 and I'm gonna grab Moonchild. Oh, I love this color so much. If any of you guys caught the recent Jaclyn Hill tutorial, these are the kind of colors that I would use from that. She used a lot of stuff from her new vault that's not released because it was canceled. You could use these. These colors remind me of that. I'm gonna go back to this one and just kind of morph them together. Now I'm gonna go underneath the lower lash line. I'll hit the top and all that stuff in a bit. We're gonna do lower lash line. I'm gonna take thick. Now I'm gonna take this little guy and I'm gonna pick up one more thing and try to blend out that edge with this. And just kind of smoosh it outward. And I'm gonna take Whiskey Neats and Moonchild and just work on the outer. And I kind of tap it up here too. Now I'm gonna shove Vegas Past, this one right here, all over my lid. I just ran my brush over it and I don't know if you guys can see, it picks up a lot. So I think even patting on it, it almost feels like a wet formula. It can be messy. So just, you know, be careful with it. Or if you're somebody that likes to do your eyes first, no fear there. Although I'm not experiencing any real fallout doing it like this on my cheeks, at least not yet. But it just makes the palette look messy. I don't mind a messy palette. Just know you won't be getting those product shots first, ladies. When I put it in, it really picks up. So you just want to be gentle so you don't jack up your palette and use like unnecessary product. Like I don't want to take a big chunk out of the palette, the shadow I won't ever be able to get back again. I hope that makes sense. I hope that that doesn't become my new line. I hope this makes sense. If I'm saying that all the time, that means that I probably am not making a lot of sense. Give me, you know, a free card on this one, guys. I haven't filmed a makeup tutorial in a while. Okay, so I just swiped that bad boy all over. That was dry. It goes fine with a brush. I'm sure you could do the same with your finger. And you know, if you wet it, it's gonna take on a different look. I like these dry because they still have this beautiful sheen to them, but they just look pretty, more natural. You could not that this is natural. It just like heightens the eyeshadow look. You could wet them and still get a really nice effect, but this is just like that extra, Now I'm gonna take Crime Fighter. I'm lazy, I'm just gonna flip my brush over. And Crime Fighter is the pinky one. It doesn't pick up quite like Vegas Pass does, but they're essentially the same formula. And I'm gonna put that, you know, a little bit on top of here. I was just curious how they blended together. See how it is when we put our finger in it and on the lid. You definitely pick up a lot more pigment that way. You can do both. So now we have a little bit of a gradation by doing it with the finger, and it doesn't damage the packaging quite like it does when I dig my brush into it. Just be gentle with them, guys, be gentle. And I'm just trying to work this into the lid because I have wrinkly eyelids sometimes. So I'm not trying to, you know, be a super wrinkle right now. And I'm just gonna pick up a little more Vegas Pass with the other finger and rub that here. Yeah, you definitely get more bang with the finger, but with a brush, it's just a really nice sheen. The other thing that I like is when I put my finger in these, I'm not getting immediate hard pan. I've had that happen, and you're like, I can't be that dirty that when I touch this, but you know how that is. Sometimes you'll touch one of your wetter formulas, and then it's like hard ass pan. I've had it happen with ABH ones before. All right, guys, watching me put on eyeliner and false lashes is boring AF. I'm not gonna do all that. I'm just gonna put it on my face, and then I'll be right back. So screaming in the background, as you guys know, I live with humans, so it might happen. I put on some lashes. I threw on the Jouer lip pencil. I think it's Au Naturale. It's beautiful, it's no fuss, it's easy. Is it similar to so many other things that you might already have? Yeah. Like I just pulled open the Soft Glam palette, and there are similar tones to it. Like One More Thing is similar to, well, maybe a little bit like Dusty Rose. One More Thing and Thick and Dusty Rose might be kind of close. Cypress Umber, do you have to watch? Cypress Umber is similar to Whiskey Neat. It's similar. It's neutral palette.
All those colors are similar to the color of dog shit.
Why are you mad at me?
Because I just got home from work and I stepped in a pile of dog shit and you don't love me.
The dog's poop looks like this? Does it have glitter in it?
Yes, it was like, oh. No, it doesn't have glitter in it.
Then it's not amazing and I don't need to help you with it.
Would you rub it on your face for $1 million?
Yes.
Me too.
So what is my point? My point is, yes, you do have colors like this. I'm not here to sell you something, but I really like this formula. It is soft in the pan. It goes nicely on the eyes. I didn't use a primer today. I just used my concealer like from earlier in the day, you know. I didn't even set down powder. I just like blotted and it blends really nice. This was really uncomplicated. For me, like a test if a palette is something that I will return to, something like Soft Glam, which I actually really do like, is if I can put it in my purse and take it to work and I keep taking it. It keeps going back in the purse to do a look at work, because this is messy, kind of thrown together, not precise. You could still get precise looks with this or any really neutral palette, but it's what's special about this palette is the formula. And I like all the colors. Some of the colors are a little close together, but still, this is still on trend. Yes, we've seen these kind of things before, but I think what's special about this is the formula. I think it would go really well if you already have melt stacks. I feel like these are like build on palettes. Like this is your basic, this is your staple, and this is an add-on. I think that I might have to play a little bit with the Gemini and the Lovesick and see if I can do some fun things with that. You know what I'm saying? What else can I say? It's hard to tell anybody that a $58 palette is worth it. You know, like once the price point starts getting higher and higher, it's always hard to be like, oh yes, absolutely. I mean, I could literally pull a big YouTuber on you and be like, oh, melts like butter. Look at that sheen, you know, and just show you swatches and be like, oh, look at the way it glides in the light. I can do that with so many things, and I like this. I'm glad I have it. Do I actually own a lot of neutral palettes? I have almost every Anastasia palette, which are a lot of neutral palettes with pops of color. But I'm not like a huge Tarte collector. Most of my Urban Decays are the limited edition kind of Vice ones with pops of color. So I'm not like a hardcore neutral palette girl. I don't have Nudie Patootie. I do have the Nakeds and I have the chocolate bars. So I'd have to say that this is like a Naked palette. If you guys want to see a comparison to, say, the Naked palette, I can do that in a separate video. And if you'd like to see dupes within collections, say palettes you already have, that might be helpful, because I could sit there and do a single shadow and dupe each one. But I feel like because you have so many of these, it might be more helpful to show you guys what palettes you might already have that have a similar color story. And I'm sure you guys already know that. But for me, what's special about this palette is the formula. It blended very nicely. It's a different approach. Like Urban Decay's shadows, how would I explain them? Urban Decay tends to be a less powdery. It's like a harder in the pan. Like you can get in there and they still blend nicely, yada yada. Here's an example of a palette I've never used. Anyway, an Urban Decay, you can get in there and you can build it up, right? There's very little kickback in the pan. It just, you can build them. They still blend most of the time nicely. Whereas you're gonna have formulas more like Anastasia, where you touch it and you'll get I believe more pigmentation quicker, but you have more of the kickback. Then you have, I feel, things like Melt, which are kind of similar to something like the Soft Glam Anastasia. They have more kickback. They're not extremely powdery, but you know, if you do this with your brush and dig into it, it's going to, see, you can even see the powder as I blend. It depends on what kind of formula you like, and I think that's the important thing. I tend to favor these. I like an Urban Decay because you can get crazy with it. You can be like, and it like doesn't do anything to the pan. But I tend to be more creative, and I tend to enjoy the blend, and I can blend more on top of each other, usually with these kind. I usually pick these kind of formulas, the more powdery type formulas, over, and they just usually have, I don't know how to explain it, like just a better look to them. Nothing wrong with this little Urban Decay shade, but I tend to prefer this type of formula. It was a long way about going to say, I like this palette. I do. I can't tell somebody, I don't know what everybody's price range is. You know, to some people, spending $40 is a lot. To some people, spending $60 is a lot. And then there are prices above and beyond that. Like, I don't own any Natasha Denona. I don't own any Pat McGrath because I can't that price point. And this price point is even like, But I do have some Viseart. And I do have a lot of single eyeshadows, which would end up costing me the same price as this. And it's just what kind of formulas you like. So that's my opinion on the 27 palette. I'm glad I have it. I keep going back to it. Yes, it's new, but I think that this can pair well with the Gemini, and I'm excited to play with the other melt stacks and hope I can get more use out of my other melt stacks by incorporating them with things like this. And honestly, I hope that Melt makes more palettes because I'm gravitating to this more than these. But I feel like when you add these things together, the possibilities just keep growing. And recently I've had these two in my purse for work because I've got lighter transitions with this, and I do like it. I think it's pretty, it's seamless, and that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this demo, this review, if you will, because I have been using it since I got it. Leave me some comments down below. Do you want to see what's already in your collection? Like, what palettes look like this? Do you want to see it compared to the Urban Decay Smoky, whatever it's called, Heat, and maybe next to this one? Or, you know, let me know down below. You want to see what other palettes in your collection this could be close to dupes, or would you rather see single eyeshadows? Are you just good? If you're just good, leave that in the comments down below too. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Mwah. Bye. Don't forget, you can subscribe down here, and for more videos, click over here. Possibly there. There's places to click. Click them all.